Welcome to Get Valiant.
Hey, live. Get Valiant number 129. This is actually going to just be take two now of our new format that we're trying now that we have a co-host who does things.
That's right. Yeah, we could change it up and throw it up and do
Yeah,
this.
I don't know.
Hopefully, we figured out some of the bugs we had last week with the looping. Hopefully, we kind of got that figured out. And hopefully, thanks for guys for bearing with me on that. And thank you, Josh and Eric, for bearing with me on that as well.
Not a problem.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it works out for everybody and we can have some good conversations. What in the world is happening? My phone it really wants to play us. That would be a fun loop for the whole show. Um, yeah, we've already got Scott Bloom hanging out with us in the live chat. Hey, so do we have some news going on, you guys? Any new things to talk about at least?
Well, one of the things that came out, I think, was that sci-fi interview with Dave Wilson when he's talking about the movie that he did at San Diego Comic-Con. Did you guys get a chance to look at that?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Eric, go ahead and go first.
I mean, it was good. It seems like he genuinely has an interest in the two things that I think are important. Number one, making a good movie that is its own good movie, but then also keeping that idea of, where it could go from that movie and how it could go forward and connect into other, something, a bigger universe, a bigger tapestry of stories. I think that was one of the biggest things that I took away. And also him talking about, the fact that Vin was really invested in this movie and in looking forward to what could come next, So the fact that both of them kind of have that in mind, it makes me hopeful. It seems like they're really conscious and aware of what they're doing and trying to actually make something that's going to be worth all our while.
Yeah, one thing I took away from his interview is that he made a comment about how he wanted to have his movie look a certain way, and he didn't understand why superhero movies don't normally have the kind of look that he's trying to go for. So he's trying to add something a little bit dark to it. I like that. I like people that have a vision of trying to go a little bit different from the norm. We'll just see if it pays off.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that he brought up Dinesh is a big deal. I know a lot of us fans, we miss Dinesh being a part of Valiant as a company. So the fact that, we've got this director for what's going to be the first time a Valiant character is ever on a movie screen. Well, other than when Ninjak Versus was played on a movie screen, but, the first actual film release, I mean, this is a big deal. And it sounds like they really care about. This is the other thing that I think is a tightrope, is respecting the source material while also giving something that's fresh, so existing fans don't feel like we're being get the same story repackaged to us, but also something that is going to be able to bring new fans in and get them interested in the characters without saddling them with a bunch of continuity and history that they maybe don't care about.
And that goes like with a lot of what Dave was saying, how he wanted to make it its individual movie. And then I like how he used the comment of having Dinesh there because Dinesh knew where all the bodies were buried. And then I thought that was kind of cool, like, Bloodshot, of course, to have that. I dug that. So I'm liking that they're, like, he's got Dinesh there to help with some continuity things and to possibly see a bigger picture than just this one movie. But like he made a good point, like Iron Man, the first one, Jon Favreau was just trying to make a good movie, period, right there. Because if that doesn't happen, none of the other stuff happens with it. So I dug the interview, and I love everything about Dave. One of the things that I love is one of his projects I love. Have you guys seen Love, Death, and Robots? That very first episode is his, and it's freaking amazing.
Which one was that one?
That
It's
was
been
the
a while
one,
since I've watched it.
Was
it the one with the cats?
I don't know if they're cats, but the two monsters where they're battling each other in the arena. And the girl with the cut up face.
Oh yes, I know. Yeah,
phenomenal. If you guys have not seen that, check that out. That's a great. That really got me pumped up completely for this movie because it's pretty well out. So, but it just goes. The movie's getting closer and closer, and then they're doing reshoots right now in Montreal. Is that right?
yeah.
Yep. And it looks like some Bloodshot 2012 are getting signed for giveaways that Dinesh is going to have giveaways down the road with probably some cast and crew. So pretty phenomenal stuff getting closer and closer. I didn't think they would. I thought they would have already been done with reshoots, but I'm for it. I like that they're doing it. Looks like they're trying to make it work to the very end. So hopefully a trailer coming soon, New York NYCC. So.
Yeah, we're so close to when this is going to come out. It's going to be coming out in February, so we should be having a trailer in the next couple of months, and it's definitely exciting to think that we'll finally get to see what Bloodshot's going to look like on the big screen. Just, for me, like the footage that we saw when we saw it on Dinesh's phone, I do hope it's just a little bit more polished, but definitely looks cool. I know that one thing he talked about on the interview, Dave Wilson, was just like they weren't doing a lot of green screen. They built a lot of sets. I think that's one thing that people won't necessarily get to pick up on in the trailer, but that just shows like the level of dedication that they're doing to this. So it's not as much CG stuff. They have to work within their own budget. It's sometimes cheaper just to build that stuff than it is to make it on the computer.
Yeah.
But I hope the trailer is soon.
Yeah, I'm begging for it. So, I mean, they were pretty much done with first shoots in February, so they've had some time to get some stuff for us. So hopefully it's around the corner to get it right. Anything else?
Yeah, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like to have a Bloodshot trailer. Even the teaser, I'm going to lose my shit. I don't know. People probably can't see it behind me, but I tried to put up, since I was able to move to a different part of my house. I've got my Bloodshot Salvation metal cover and my, original Bloodshot #1 9.8 back there that I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I like Bloodshot a little bit, as longtime listeners might be familiar with. And yeah, it's going to be amazing to see that. But speaking of Bloodshot, I think it was Scott Bloom brought up in the live chat that Valiant was kind of pushing a thing on Facebook that a group had, some group on Facebook had like a who would win thing, had Bloodshot versus Wolverine, and Scott's saying that Bloodshot actually won that because I think it was an online vote, and
yes,
that's fucking awesome. I don't know if that's accurate, but it's still fucking cool.
Yeah, that would be a good battle nonetheless to have. So I like that there's some like stuff floating around in there, and it looked like some of the people who gave some descriptions of who would win, that there was a giveaway for that too. So I think you can find that on Twitter and Facebook. I think it's connected around there. So pretty cool.
I'd like to see who won, just because I thought some of the answers were so creative as to why Bloodshot would win versus Wolverine, especially since Wolverine's healing factor is just so exaggerated in the comics so many times. He could basically just be down to a skeleton and grow everything back real fast. So it's kind of bullshit. Bloodshot's way more realistic, I think, at least as far as he needs time to recuperate, he needs to regenerate, he needs to have protein put back into his body. So Bloodshot's better anyway.
I think it would end just like Terminator 2. Done.
Yeah.
I want to see Terminator versus Predator versus Bloodshot versus Wolverine versus Punisher versus Conan
and RoboCop.
and John Wick.
Yes, John Wick wins.
So I don't know. Was there really any other news? Did any other announcements get made or anything? Because I don't specifically remember it.
Not really. Hasn't been a whole bunch.
I don't recall any other news.
So do we get into the books, you guys?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get into the books.
Which one do we want to jump into first? PSI Lords?
I was thinking Livewire #9, and then we hit PSI Lords #3.
Sounds good.
hopefully everybody has read these books. We do get into spoilers in our discussions here, so just please be forewarned and understand that it is something that's going to happen. But like I said, hopefully you've gone to the comic shop and picked them up, or at least read them digitally one way or another if you haven't gotten to pick the books up quite yet. Normally, I have to read them digitally and not able to get to the comic shop on Wednesdays, but I was actually able to go today, and I don't know where you can see this, but I have that A cover. I believe it's the A cover. Yeah, of Livewire #9. I think the Livewire covers are so badass. Like the fashion magazine one, that one that looks like it's torn down the middle. This A cover. There was the pre-order cover, I think is the one.
Yeah, Jen Bartel's covers are amazing, man. She does amazing covers, and then that retro look.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think they all are pretty awesome. Yeah, I think that's the art has really been strong on this book. But I will say that I think that the art on this arc looks like it's going to be the weakest this book has had so far.
I think it's the weakest Valiant's had.
I agree.
Period.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, like I think we've gotten used to such a high standard of art quality. All the books look great. We've had Louis Rosa, Miko Swyan, Juan Jose Reap. Even with Livewire, we've had Raul Allen and Patricia Martin, and then Kano. So this is definitely a step back.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of a failed Kickstarter campaign. Like, I was not impressed with it at all. So,
my feeling on this though was that as I got deeper into the issue, the art grew on me. Not that I necessarily like this isn't going to be my new favorite artist, but by the end of the issue, the art wasn't bugging me anymore. Like when I first started reading it, it jumped off the page in the wrong way, and it grated me a little bit, grated on me. But like I said, as I read through the issue, I got a better feel of the art, and I felt like it did fit the book. Like that opening sequence, as much as the art was a little weird, like you can see that page where she's fighting the dude, whatever, like that whole opening sequence was really awesome. I thought it was written really well. It was kind of a cool little twist on how to show Livewire's powers. And I don't know, it was a lot of fun, but the negative is that the rest of the book was basically talking. There was a little bit of I don't even know the right word. There was a little bit of fuckery at the end, but I thought it was a really good comic, if maybe a little bit more talky than I would have liked it to be.
I thought this one was a little bit too talkative, and I don't know what to think about this politician trying to get involved with Livewire in some kind of capacity. It's one of those things where, as I was reading this, I really wish I could read the next issue just to kind of see where it's going. Because for right now, I don't really dig where the story's going. I agree with Eric in that I loved how the first part of the issue flowed. I thought the story was really good. The panels are all right. It's just the detail which I really have a problem with. As far as like how is it Tana Ford?
That's correct.
The artist's name. How they're like, as far as like what they're trying to get accomplished within like the panels, I thought they were doing a good job there. I just didn't like the quality of it. But I don't know. For me on this one, like I was a little bit down on this issue just because I didn't like the art. I thought half the book was rather weak. But it's one of those things, and we've talked about this a few times, where if you could just see what the next issue is and see how things kind of play out, it might make things make a little bit more sense or get a better understanding of what's going on. But I'm not really digging where the storyline is going on this one.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of saying the same thing. Like in the first couple pages, the caption, basically it's the internal, you know what I mean, the monologue going on there was kind of just interesting because it had really nothing to do with what was actually happening in the images what were going on. So that was kind of a weird writing aspect, and I think that's one thing Vita does do. Not that it's necessarily bad, but there's a lot of telling going on than the showing, and the showing is totally different than what's being said and what's actually going on in the dialogue there. But there was lots of talking going on, and it's, I don't know. I just don't like where it's at compared to where we were the last arc. I felt like it was a pretty, I feel like this is a weird place to go right now when you just had that Phoebe arc and you had, the new school coming up. I felt like there may be other directions it could go in. The politics just seems like, it's an old X-Men trope that's happened. So yeah, I wasn't too hip on it. And I think I might have just been turned off by the art right away. There's one of these images where you see right there in the bottom right, you see the O face for Livewire, and it just kind of threw me off. And yeah, I think this book probably should have been over at the last arc now. I kind of feel bad about saying that because this product is not what I've come to expect.
See, I'm going to go with Josh. Like, I think that while this is maybe a bit of a slow beginning to the new arc, and the art is definitely a bit of an adjustment from where we were previously, I think that we won't really know whether this arc is worth having until we've actually gotten to read the whole thing. And yeah, like Josh was saying, I mean, it would be cool to have that next issue just to know. Like, I was really stoked when they sent out both of the first 2 issues of Killers right away so that I got to read those. And it was that second issue of that book that really sold me on the title. And so I think that there's every reason to believe that there's at least a good chance that the next issue of this can really, because first issues of a story, there's a lot of setup that needs to happen. We got introduced to new characters. There was a really good plot in this, honestly. Like, yes, it was a little talky, and I think that we've kind of been back and forth on Vita's writing here. Previously we've complained that there's too much action in an issue and there isn't enough, plot moving forward or whatever. And here we're getting an issue where it's the opposite, where we feel like maybe that action at the beginning wasn't enough to carry the rest of the issue for just being talking. So, maybe that's something that Vita does. They like to put the action here and put the build up here or whatever. I don't know. But I do think that this issue, it shows, it sets up a lot, but it also managed to show that there's a lot more going on. Like, there's different people with different plots. And I do get what you were saying, Hoosier, about, like, we're not getting a seamless continuation of what was happening previously. Like, we're not focusing on the same characters, the PSEP, quite as directly. But I think that there's a good chance that this is going to loop back to that. That was kind of the feeling I got. Because, I mean, remember, this issue starts with Livewire hacking into the PSEP, right? Like, a government server in order to find info on the PSEP. And, I think it's going to loop back around. I think that's likely. But either way, I think that this is going to be a really good, like, intrigue kind of story. You know what I mean? Like, maybe this isn't going to be the bombastic explosion, city leveling superhero comic. We might get, more of a political intrigue type book. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So I think for me overall, like, my score on this issue is going to be rather low. Just because I'm just not digging this one. We'll see how it is with the next one, but I'm actually going to go pretty low with the 3 on this one. So we'll just see where the story's at next month.
I would actually come in, oh man, a 3.5. I want to go a little higher than that, but I think that's about where I fall on this. It's not a bad book. But I do also think that there's a really solid chance that the next issue is going to make me look at this in a much more positive light than I am.
You guys are nice. I'm 2.5 on this, man. It was hard to get through. I mean, I could see where the story could turn out to be a pretty intriguing story down the way, but just this issue alone, judging just issue number 9, it's a 2.5 for me. Yeah, I'm ready to go to
Ouch.
Silence.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
All right.
Well, yeah. Woohoo! I have that one too. You guys should be really impressed with me right now.
Very.
Look at that.
It just went from
Silence
6 o'clock to midnight real fast.
This book has been crazy.
Yeah, this issue, I dug it. You know, and one thing about this, and we just complained about this with the issue of Livewire, was that Livewire was such a talkative issue, not a lot of action. That's the same thing here with probably even less action. But I think that this issue did a great job kind of finally giving us some explanations as to some of these powers, who some of these people are. And I think that's something that was needed with this series pretty badly.
I'm still lost.
I mean,
the vagina crab went after him.
Honestly,
it's kind of weird.
This answered a ton of questions for me, and then it just created a new mystery right at the end. I mean, as we said before, we're going into spoilers here. When, God, I can't even remember their names, but when Scion killed the smart chick, like, goddamn, man, like, there's some serious shit going on, obviously, and that was a shock to me. So, like, I'm really intrigued. Like, I did feel a lot of questions got answered, and then the ones that got raised, I'm really curious to see how they get answered. Yeah, this, you know, like I said, Killers 2 was the issue that really sold me on that book. This is the issue that has finally really, really sold me on Psy Lords. Like, I'm 100% on board with Psy Lords after this issue. I've been mostly positive, but a little bit on the fence about this book, but I'm on board now 100%.
Well, and I don't think that everything has to be answered right away with it. So it's good to have that mystery. It's good to build up something here. But the fact that Scion is we've gotten some information. And one thing that I liked, and this was probably my favorite part of the issue, and this means absolutely nothing unless you're like a older reader, I guess. But they name dropped a bunch of the old Psy Lords when they give the explanation of who the characters were. They're from the old 90s run. So I thought that was kind of a cool touch. But that's about the only thing this has to do with like the old book as it is. But I don't know. I mean, like, this has been such a weird book, and it's been a kind of an odd book to even kind of think like where you would rank it. And I kind of feel like what we had said in previous episodes about how this was going to be one of these series that starts out slow, maybe a little confusing, or maybe just not enough going on, and then after a couple issues, we're really going to know where this book is. I feel a lot better about it. But like Eric kind of said, you know, like, it did answer a bunch of stuff, and then all of a sudden there's just more mystery at the end. But I'm okay with that, you know, because we did get a lot of, like, this guy is obviously not on the up and up. And we get a little bit of an explanation about the fact that he's from Earth. They had a failed mission to stop something from destroying the Earth. There's a nuke out there somewhere. There's a lot of stuff that's been added to this. And this was a much stronger issue than issue 2 also, I thought.
Yeah, Scott in the live chat is describing it as twisty, and I think that that's a really good way to describe this book. And I think that I kind of got the impression from the first issue that this was setting up to be a really twisty book, but I didn't really expect as much of that as we got out of this issue alone, you know, so I can't imagine how much we're going to get out of the series as a whole by the time we're done with it, but like, this issue had so many twists and turns. Oh, by the way, I love that cover where they're all like showing their powers and like all 4 of them are going down. You know, I don't know. That's my favorite cover. I don't know. I
like the stained glass one. The stained glass looking one is pretty cool.
Yeah, that one does look cool.
That one's okay.
That one there.
That A cover, that one right there. I don't know who did that cover, if it's a Gatiss one or what, but it's I guess I don't know what
I guess
anyway.
Hank and his projections still remind me like it's so much trying to be like a Green Lantern Corps. But it is good looking, I agree. I think this book did improve over from 1 and 2. It did get an improvement very much. I don't know about that, but it is better. I did like I actually like Renato Guedes' art. I think it's pretty awesome. I dig it. His painted style is just impressive all the way around. Yeah, that I think that's the highlight of this book to me is that lots of questions, not lots, but questions were answered, and yeah, definitely with Scion had some definitely just intriguing with the triplets. How there was triplets that came over. It was weird about the one brother who died at the very beginning. It's like, oh, that was my brother. But I mean, it does tie in when they talk about how their minds would link and they work together because they've always been hunted for a while. So I thought that was kind of cool, but that kind of answered that question because it was weird having Scion in their head in the first issue and then having it like, oh, he's dead. So it was kind of weird to bring him back right now. And then, yeah, and where it takes it, I mean, I really hope that we get, a little bit more into this, that we get to see some more of where the story is so we can get a little bit, set our feed down a little bit further into it and get more invested in the characters. Because, like, right now there's not much, really buy-in or connection that I have of some of the characters besides they're lost and they don't really know, too much of who they are just yet, so...
Yeah, and I think really a lot of their personalities kind of just seem the same, so it's kind of hard to differentiate one from the other, except for maybe Tank, who finally got red hair and a beard in this issue for no reason. They went to that quiet place, and then all of a sudden they came
Alex
out.
Ray?
He had facial hair.
I thought that was Alex Ray, former Valiant sales manager.
The chick that died, they actually gave her a real personality in this issue and then killed her. So that was kind of a bummer. We really got I was really starting to like that character in that scene that we got.
Was that
where she was talking to Tank and she was kind of concerned about everything, whatever. I really liked her in that scene, and that really made kind of endeared the character or whatever. And then they killed her right away after that. But yeah,
but who knows? That might not even be true either, though, with the way this book has had so many twists and turns with it. We don't know.
I liked the idea of them being able to, memories of the future, is on one of those preview pages that's scrolling through. I thought that was kind of a cool concept, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And then, obviously, if they... The crazy thing about this, and this is kind of what I was thinking when you were talking, Hoosier, about... not having too much buy-in into these characters yet. I think that this is very much written as a 12-issue story, right? And I think that knowing we're a quarter of the way into this story, I think this is planned out to be we'll get that by the end, but we're not getting it now because there's so much information to dump and trying not to do it in a info dump way. So I think that I don't know. I think that this book really accomplishes what it's going for. And there's some really, really funny stuff. I laughed out loud a couple of different times while reading this issue, especially with the, what would he call them? The Astro Friends.
That was pretty funny.
That's the greatest thing ever. I love that they're the Astro Friends. And I honestly really, really enjoy this book. I do think that Renato Guedes' art is better printed. Every time I read a digital book that he did the art on it, I don't know, there's something about it that always just rubs me slightly wrong. But printed, reading this book physically today, I felt like his art came across a lot better that way, and I really did enjoy it. This is a super, super strong book for me. I'm going to say 4.5.
Ooh, I'm kind of torn between a 4.25 and a 4.5. I did enjoy it very much. And I like where it's going because I can finally kind of see where things are starting to go. Some of the pieces are starting to get put in. I'll go 4.5 just to be generous on it.
Okay, that's nice. I mean, 4.5 is an A. I don't quite think it's quite A quality yet. So I'm going to come in at a 3.75. It's a good solid C, when you're looking at that grading scale. It did improve. And 3.75 for me.
All right.
I'm sad you're so low on it, and I hope that you come to enjoy this book as much as I am.
I hope it does, because I like Fred's work. His last couple things with Valiant have not impressed, like his first stuff. You know, I loved Time Walker and I loved Archer and Armstrong, but Gen Zero and War Mother just didn't quite do it for me. So I kind of hope he turns it around because I do enjoy Fred's work a lot. So.
I thought War Mother was great. War Mother fucking ruled.
Well, I'm glad somebody liked it.
I liked War Mother. I think Gen Zero. I can see not liking
it
that.
was okay.
We don't need to talk about Gen Zero. Gen Zero and Valiant High. Both
Gen Zero is the reason they got killed. I mean, really, that book was the reason they got killed. But yeah. And no, I'm glad you liked War Mother because not all books are made for me, and I get that. So.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, different strokes for different folks.
So what do we have coming up?
What do we have?
I, of course, didn't look
Boom.
up
Killers #2, and then Dr. Mirage #1.
So the preview art for Dr. Mirage, or the preview pages, rather, I didn't actually read them, but the coloring is fucking crazy.
Who...
Like that was,
who was it on that? Does it say? No, it just says Nick Robles is doing the interior, but
yeah, I don't remember who's doing the colors on it, but it's fucking crazy. I will say that the first couple pages of the preview art, I was a little, but by the end of even those preview pages, it was really fucking good. Like I think that this is going to be a really good looking book. And like I said, I didn't really read the pages because I just want to read it as it comes out. But if the writing's as good as the art seems like it's going to be, I think we've got a really solid new book on our hands. And that Killers #2, like I said, that was the issue that really sold me on Killers as a series. So I'm really stoked for everybody to get to read that and see if other people are enjoyed as much as I did, because I really think that issue sells the title, tells the book and what's going on with it.
yeah.
I'm usually the one that doesn't read ahead, but
I wasn't here for Killers.
Yeah, I have not dug into it yet.
I wasn't here for Killers. I freaking loved Killers #1, so I'm super pumped up for... I didn't read Killers #2 yet either. I've had it for a while, have not read it, and yeah, super pumped up for that. And that killed it on sales. That was the #1 sold book last month for Valiant. So, and guess what the last place book was for units?
Yep. Livewire.
By
by
a lot. it almost was.
I'm trying
double.
to figure out who that fucking colorist is. Oh, it's Jordy Belair. It's Jordy Belair doing colors on Dr. Mirage.
Oh, dude, I love Jordy's colors. I think she's a great colorist.
I was too curious.
She's top.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was going to say, going through the numbers really quick, I noticed that Life and Death of Toyo Harada was rather low selling too, which is a shame. I hope more people will pick it up in trade, or if it gets a hardcover, because it's one of the best books Valiant's done.
By far.
Yeah. That book is...
It does take some IQ to read that book, though.
Well, it's not very reader friendly. That's probably the only knock I can think about it. You do have to go back and know what Josh Dysart was doing, but other than that, it's really good.
Completely agree with that. Yeah. Oh man, you guys. 2 books. It felt like we went through them really quick, especially for having 3 of us now. I don't know, man. I think that Livewire is probably going to be done by issue 12.
I wish it was at 9.
But
I wish it was at 9.
Oh, I don't. I mean, I hope at some point we get some kind of resolve of the things that have been brought up within this issue, or within this entire story arc, I guess, or storyline, because there is a lot going on. But this issue 9, seemed like it just totally went past all of it into something totally different, which kind of stinks. But like I said, we'll just see what happens next month with it.
I don't know. I feel like Vita's doing a good job of doing both the... This is kind of what we were talking about with the movie. You want to have something that's new reader friendly, and you also want to have something that respects continuity. And that's a tough line to walk. And I think that this book walks that. I think that this is a new arc, and I think that you could come on to this as a new arc and have a pretty good understanding of who Livewire is and what's going on, and this is a fun, intriguing book. And yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest action book, but I do think that there's something here for everybody. And maybe not everybody, but I do think that this is definitely a book worth continuing. And I hope that this isn't the last arc. I think it's really likely that it is. But
I wish that editorial would get some type of intertwining together with the stories right now, though. I wish that, some of the fallout from Life and Death happened here. Because, I mean, with Livewire and Toyo. Or just get in Ninjak somewhere. He's off the shelf right now, unless he's going to show up in Killers or Roku down the road. But I just, I want to see some more tie-in. We got new characters thrown in there, but I want to see, like, that's just me wanting. I get it. I'm still good for a good story though, but sometimes it's just that want to, have those little Easter eggs and fan services in there. I'd like to just see that just more cohesive instead of just being such separate books sometimes. But then again, I'd start complaining if they're like too much. You have to read 5 books to get the one though too. So you can't please me.
I think that this kind of ties into something we had talked about in the past with, the fact that, we used to have Dinesh and Warren, these guys with this vision, and they brought all the writers together around them and said, this is our grand vision. And now, we want everybody to kind of find their place and expand their own corner of that vision that maybe we didn't think of already, while still serving this greater, flow of the universe. And I would agree that we don't have that. I do think that we can still get great books without a lot of continuity. I mean, Bloodshot #1 that's coming up from Tim Seeley doesn't seem to really address prior continuity, but that book is so fucking awesome. So I don't know. I think that having that continuity, though, is a really good thing. And if there was a way to get back to a point where all the Valiant writers are able to come together, physically or not, and all collaborate on, the direction that the universe is going to go and how each of their individual stories can play into that larger narrative. And then we need a Unity book.
We could always do another Unity book or Unity Dark that we've talked about. I do believe 2 books are going to come out, or I know 2 books are going to come out, but they're going to be probably the 2 most telling books for Valiant's future, and that is The Bloodshot with Tim Seeley, and then Hopeless's Exo Manowar. I think those 2 books are going to be very telling of what we're going to get with Valiant in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about that, though, is that it's 2 new takes, 2 fresh new talents within the titles. I'm actually really looking forward to what happens with Exo Manowar, just because I like Dennis's work, and the last run was okay. It started out great. I think it lost some steam, and if it's something where Exo's back on Earth, give me a little bit more of like that Venditti feel where it's like adventures on Earth. Give me some Vine, give me some stuff like that. But I'm actually really excited for it, and I can't wait for I can't wait for when Valiant does give us like that first issue to look at, because I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I definitely curious to see what direction the new Exo goes, because now we've had a pretty good idea for a while here what to expect from the new Bloodshot book, but we really haven't heard or seen much of anything about that new Exo book.
Yeah, and just seeing what Heather's the editor on it, and she's been on Livewire right now, and then this is another one that she's got. So.
Well, we'll see where it goes. As we said, next week we're getting new stuff. I think that that's something that's been great. Scott's kind of mentioning that the DMG buyout was huge concern for a lot of us in the fan community, but we're still getting good stuff. And maybe we don't have all the tentpole characters on the shelf right now, but we have so much new, awesome stuff. Ninja K introduced a bunch of these other ninjas, and Killers is giving us a really badass story using that. It's coming directly out of previous continuity, and it's giving us a new, fresh story that we haven't seen before with characters that still deserve a lot more work. I think it'd be awesome to see a lot more from those characters. And then Dr. Mirage, she hasn't had her own book for quite a while. We're getting brand new creators in the Valiant universe to bring this character back. Yeah. I don't know, guys. I think this is a really good time to be optimistic as a Valiant fan.
Well, and there's still good books. Like when I see people online talking about how there's nothing good, and I just think you haven't read Fallen World, you haven't read Incursion, Punk Mambo, maybe you haven't read the first issue of Killers. Those are good. And I get if some people don't like Livewire, it does have a weird flow to it, but I'm enjoying it. Even without this last issue, I still view Livewire as a pretty good book, pretty fun book to read. So there's a lot of different stuff out there, and if Toyo Harada's book is the only thing you like, then I don't know what to say. I mean, I think there's a lot more going on that's worth reading and checking out than just that.
Oh, definitely. I think there's still some good stuff, and like Killers, like Eric was mentioning that. Just wanted to point out though, that's B. Claymore, old Valiant creator from the Dinesh days, and Christos Gage characters from those eras as well with Ninja K. But all around though, but yeah, Fallen World is amazing. I'm pumped up for Rai coming out soon. I think that's something to look forward to. I think February 21st is something to really look forward to. I'll say that probably 100 times. Pumped up for it, and just can't wait to get that image of Vin Diesel all white-skinned and red-eyed, and yes, give it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to say thanks. We definitely had some great interaction with Scott Bloom, especially. He's been hanging out and chatting with us on the live chat. Then obviously David hanging out, and I know that Ryan Pond is here as well. So yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody hanging out with us as always. We definitely appreciate fan interactions. Scott brought up points that we didn't think to discuss until he brought them up. So it always adds that extra thing to the show, and that's one of the reasons I love doing this live. But yeah, so this has been episode 129 of Get Valiant. Thanks everybody again for watching and listening. Signing off, I'm Eric Baumgart.
I'm Josh Rathbun.
I am John Hoosier. Thank you guys for jumping on.
I hope that you guys all stay